Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from SimpleProgrammer.com. Today I wanted to do a video about a topic that I've been debating about quite a bit because I wasn't sure where I wanted to sit on this and how I feel about this, but I think I've come to a conclusion on this. Part of this is actually a book that I'm going to review. It's actually a book by Mark Manson that a lot of you have asked me to review. Let me pull up the book because I don't remember the exact title. How's that? I read books, I don't know the title. No. It's called Models. Okay, we'll link to that here. And I will do a review. It'll be coming up because I just finished it. But the topic I want to talk about is vulnerability. And this is something that I've debated going back and forth. Definitions, right? I did a video on masculine and femininity and why it's important. And I believe, right, that I erroneously used the word, using strength and weakness, right, implying that men are strong and women are weak. And that's not exactly, those aren't really the good words to use. It's not exactly like that, right? Strength is probably accurate. Weakness is not, it's not quite, it's like, it's not as strong. I don't want to get into the semantics and details, but just know that words have meaning and they're overloaded, right? So especially, it's an important skill, just as a side note here. When you listen to someone talk, when you read something, you got to read a little bit between the lines. You got to say, what are they really trying to say? Like, sometimes, not that you shouldn't be careful with words, but different people interpret words differently. So if you just look at words and you get triggered by words, right? Because there's a lot of triggering words. Just so, there's one right there. Trigger, trigger, trigger. How does that make you feel? Some of you are like, that's so insulting. I can't believe he's saying trigger. And some of you are like, I need my safe space. He said trigger. Okay, but that's an example of it. But I would encourage you to always look and see what is the person really trying to convey and say. I think if you read between the lines, you can figure out, even though I might be using some clumsy words at times that have overloaded meanings, what the real point is, right? And it's not usually the one that people who grab the word and say, oh, I'm triggered, right? That it's usually not that one. But what I want to talk about is a concept called vulnerability, okay? And this was one that I did a video on why men should be strong. And I'm going to stand behind that. I think that men should be strong. They shouldn't show weakness ever, right? In that video, I talked about the idea that men should never show weakness. It's never attractive, okay? Men don't like men who are weak, who show any kind of weakness, and neither do women, right? It's just a fact. It's just, sorry, part of being a man, suck it up, at least for being masculine, is not showing weakness. It doesn't mean you don't have weaknesses, but showing actual weakness. So I was sort of trying to combat or battle out in my head the difference between, again, words, but weakness and vulnerability, right? And I was at some point I was saying, oh, you shouldn't show vulnerability, but I will tell you, okay, that I didn't want to be convinced of this, but after reading what Mark Manson said in Models, and by the way, I did not want to like that book. I actually thought that was going to be a very shitty book, but it's actually a really good book. I'm gonna definitely do a review on it. It definitely deserves it. Not going to get into that now, but he did change my mind on that with the examples that he used. And it just me, I've been pondering this a lot, and I finally came to terms with the concept, and I'm connecting it with the word, right? So I had a different meaning and definition of the word vulnerability. I've got a better definition, and that's what I want to talk about today, because I do believe now, very firmly, and I've had this concept, but I haven't connected it with the word, right? Because it's not weakness. I want to definitely in this video, at least in my world that I create here, the Simple Programmer YouTube channel, where I get to define my own definitions and words, I want to make a very, very clear distinction and separate weakness from vulnerability, because I think they're two separate things, and I believe that, and I'm going to say this here, weakness is something that you men, or whoever, your masculine identifiers, should not ever show. Weakness is not good. Vulnerability, on the other hand, actually, when shown, shows strength. Why? Because, think of it this way. Let's say that I am a powerful warrior, okay? And I am the greatest fucking warrior. I will kill you, all of you. I will friggin' ravage your women and burn your fucking city and ride your fucking cow into my village. Okay, I'm fucking badass warrior. Okay, so I've got some armor on, right? So you're gonna fucking fight me. So what do? I show you my fucking ass. I'm like, look, there's no armor here. I'm showing you my vulnerability. You can't see it on the camera, but I wasn't wearing pants. No, I'm wearing pants right now. You can't know. Yeah, maybe I'm wearing pants, maybe I'm not. But my point is this, right? If I am a fucking badass warrior, right? And I show you my ass, or I lift up my armor, right? And I'm like, this is where I don't have armor. If you shot an arrow right here, you fucking kill me, right? That shows so much strength because I'm not afraid to show you, I don't want to use the word weakness, but my weak spot, my vulnerability, okay? Because I know that it doesn't fucking matter. I'm right? If we're like evenly keeled, okay? And I'm like, you might kick my ass. I'm not doing that. I'm not showing you my ass and waving my ass and saying, hit me here, I don't have armor here. I'm not showing you my vulnerability. I'm not giving you any kind of edge at all, right? Because I'm afraid of you, right? And I'm afraid what you think, perhaps, right? And we'll draw this analogy into the real world. Okay, so in that respect, if you think about it, vulnerability, showing vulnerability in that respect is actually the greatest display of strength that you could possibly do, right? So again, we could think about it in context here, right? If you look at it, and I had a little bit of conflict with this because I was like, well, fuck, I'm just told people not to be weak. I told guys, don't fucking be weak, that nobody likes that shit. But I share a lot of personal kind of vulnerability, maybe you could say weaknesses, with you all on this channel. So what the fuck am I doing? Am I being contradictory? Am I being a hypocrite in this case? And what I realized when I thought about it is, why am I sharing some of this stuff that is vulnerability, is a little bit of a weakness? Or why am I not presenting myself as just 100% perfect and I never have any fucking problems and I just conquer every single obstacle that comes in my way? Why am I not presenting myself that way? The reason why is this, is because I'm comfortable with my vulnerabilities. I am happy to share my weaknesses, my failures, right? The mistakes that I've made, because I literally do not give a shit, right? Cue the do not give a shit video. I literally do not care if you think poorly of me because of it, because I think fucking highly of myself, and what you think of me does not influence what I think of me. I'm pretty fucking jolly happy with myself. Not that I can't improve, of course I can. I've got aspirations, right? I fucking whip myself into shape, and I come down on myself pretty hard when I screw up, and I'm my own drill sergeant, but I'm pretty fucking happy with the progress that I've made and who I am and what I have. So I'm not afraid to share that shit. So that is actually a display of strength, but not only that, okay? Here's the other thing is, it's not just so I can brag and say, oh, look how vulnerable I am, so I'm so strong, actually. Oh. It's more like this. The other thing that showing the vulnerability does, and doing it in the right way, right? Showing the vulnerability is not the same as wearing your heart on your sleeve, right? Saying, oh, I'm really upset because my girlfriend left me. That's wearing your heart on your sleeve, okay? That's not showing vulnerability. But the other thing that vulnerability does is it engenders trust, right? So there's a reason why I believe that this channel has grown up to 75,000 subscribers at this point. It's not just because I'm fucking good looking, okay? All right. But it's this, okay? It's because you trust me, right? If you don't trust me, you're not on this fucking channel. You've already unsubscribed. Maybe you're unsubscribed now. You're like, oh, I don't know. I'm watching this guy. I don't trust him. I should unsubscribe. Fine, do it. But here's the thing, right? Most of you that are subscribing, that are watching these videos, you trust me because you've seen me show my vulnerability, right? You know that I am human and that I am not perfect, and I'm not trying to present that. I'm not trying to present anything that I'm not. I'm just being honest. And this is one of the things, again, I'll talk about this when I do the review on Mark Manson's book, but he hit the fucking nail on the head with that. His philosophy in life actually very much aligns with mine and what I've learned over time. And this is what I'm telling you guys all the time. This is why I sort of kind of, anti-pickup artist community, even though they've kind of changed some more of this philosophy of self-improvement. So I get that. That's great. That's awesome. We should interview R.C. Tyler. You guys message him and tell him he needs to come on the channel. But you see what I'm saying is that I'm telling you guys all the time that you've got to work on you. You've got to improve yourself. You've got to be confident with yourself. And when you are in that position, right? Not that I'm 100% there, right? We've always got room to grow. But some of you are really not there, and you need to work on that. But once you get there, then then when you share things, right? Mistakes, failures, stuff that could be showing weakness, it's actually showing strength, because those are vulnerable. You're showing the vulnerability like the fucking badass warrior I talked about in the beginning, that's just gonna fucking slay everyone and ravage all your women and steal all your goats and eat them all, right? Because he's not afraid to show you his ass, okay? Because he knows that it doesn't matter. He's gonna fucking decimate you. It doesn't matter, okay? So that's the key. When you get to that point, then you're not afraid to share. You're not afraid to, not that you can overshare, but you're not afraid to share things that might have made you feel uncomfortable and look silly, because it's about the way that you do it, right? I could tell you the same story. I could tell you about a time that I screwed up, and it could be the most pathetic fucking weak thing that you ever seen in me, a blatant display of weakness and self-admonishment, right? And it could look horrible and weak, and you would lose respect for me. But I could tell you the same exact story, but I could come from a place of, I can laugh at this. This is funny. Or I'm growing from this thing. I'm not embarrassed by it. I'm not afraid to tell you this. It comes to create a connection between us. Okay, because it's a display of vulnerability, and it becomes a great amount of strength. An awesome display of strength. So that's where I lie on this, right? And again, this is a growth process for me, right? These connections connected, right? I've always sort of had this one concept, and I had this other concept, and I didn't see how they related until now. And now I've got it very clear, and now there's a video on it, right? That clear distinction between weakness and vulnerability. And really, I think what's really important, especially for you guys out here, is that to understand those differences, to separate those things in your mind. Because if you're just of the one type, if you only got the one concept, if you only watch my video on why men should be strong and you should never display weakness, you might be this sort of one type of guy that's like this macho asshole that never displays weakness, that never shows any kind of vulnerability, and is always like an arrogant prick. And it's going to sort of work for you. It's going to be better than being a fucking pussy, right? It is going to be better than that. But it's not really going to work for you, because people are going to despise you behind your back. They're going to think you're a big asshole, right? You might get some of the stuff that you want, but you're never going to share a deep connection with people, and people aren't going to trust you. And I know people like that, and they're successful. It's fine. They're successful, but they don't have deep connections with anyone, and no one trusts them. People just use them, and they use people, okay? And that's not good. It's not. You might get some of what you want, but you're going to get at a very surface level. But if you can not show the weakness, right, but show the vulnerability, right, where you're not trying to affront this thing, but you're being raw, you're being genuine. Now you get the benefits. You get all the benefits of not showing, because you're not showing weakness, because it's very, very difficult for you to show weakness, because you don't have much of it. You don't have much weakness. You might have weak spots, and you might have vulnerabilities, but you don't have a true weakness. You have your confidence, your belief in yourself is such a shining strength that no matter what you say, no matter what situation that you're in, it comes across as strength. And that's why you have the power to show vulnerability, right? It's sort of, I'll give you one more example, right? I think, right? I'm not a master of Japanese lore or whatnot, but the whole bowing, right? I did a lot of martial arts at one point in my life, and the whole bowing of showing someone your head, right? There's the bow, right? It's sort of showing weakness, not weakness, but showing the vulnerability, right, to your opponent, right? You're opening yourself to attack, right? So only someone strong enough, right? To not do that is disrespect, because you don't trust your opponent and you don't trust yourself to be strong enough. So I think that's all I've got to say about that. I think that pretty much summarizes what I wanted to say about this. And if you got questions, if this doesn't make sense, leave a comment, let me know if you're still unsure in your head, right? But I hope this will help you. Again, I feel like I've finally made the connection in my head, and now I can talk about this a little bit better and have a little bit more depth to some of the things that I share with you. But this is the process. This is how it happens. I gotta be willing to let go of ideas and connect ideas as they come together, and you see the process here. All right, if you like this video, if you haven't subscribed already, I don't know what you're doing, what's going on, click that subscribe button below. And as always, because I like my t-shirt, I'm gonna plug it. If you'll do me the honor to listen to me plug my t-shirt. If you like this shirt and you want to get one, you want to support the channel and just be awesome with this super simple programmer shirt, trust the process, click me and you can buy one. I've been saying you can get one, you'll get one. And I mean that you have to pay money to get one. Some of you are like, I clicked you, I didn't get a shirt. Talk to you later.